Well, everybody, this is Adam Wallace, the infamous Adam Wallace, the New York Times bestseller of the storybook that we're all coming to know and love, Fart Boy. I would like to thank you very much for your time today, Adam, and coming to talk to our community. So thank you very much. I understand you're all the way down in sunny, beautiful Australia.
I am in sunny, beautiful Australia. Very, very well. It's funny. It's going to be like 38 degrees Celsius here today, which is about 100 Fahrenheit, but it's not even sunny. So it's just cloudy and hot today. But yeah, it's beautiful down here, and very happy to be on. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me. It's great.
Well, we appreciate your time. Absolutely. So before we dig into the whole Web3 version or the project of what has happened that has come to your attention, let's get a little bit of history on you. I understand you're a New York Times best-selling author. And how long have you been an author? What was the inspiration of this book series, Fart Boy?
So, well, it's interesting, that question of how long have I been an author, and people say this to me. They're like, "Oh, I'm not an author," but they've been writing stories for a few years, but they're not published. So, and I'm like, "You're an author, you're just not a published author." So for me, I started writing back in 1999 was the first story, about 10 years after I left school. And I hadn't written for 10 years. I'd done engineering and was very much, I'd hated writing in year 12, in final year of school. And so I was very much math, science based, and then wrote one story. I got dared to write a kid's book, and I wrote it and loved it. And that was it, set me off. And I've written every day since, pretty much. So yeah, 25 years ago. And then I self-published a book in 2004. So 20 odd years ago. And then my first traditionally published book was 2014 or 15. So about 15 years after I started writing. And then, so Fart Boy, it was actually someone at the publisher's idea. They heard a song called Arty Boy, and they said to me and James, the illustrator, like, "Oh, do you reckon you'd like to do a book called Farty Boy?" And we're just like, "Yeah, absolutely." And then it ended up becoming Fart Boy, not Farty Boy. But yeah, that's where it started, basically from someone hearing a song and the title of the song. And then James and I had to brainstorm the series and work out what we're going to do, and then pitch that proposal to the publisher, and kind of went from there.
So for those that might not know Fart Boy, the series, and as you know, I'm actually traveling right now. So I've actually ordered a few copies of the book and stuff. It's waiting for me for when I get back home. So I personally, sadly, have not been able to read it yet. What is the basic premise of Fart Boy?
I mean, it's very subtle. It's a very subtle title. It's about a boy who farts. So basically, it's about a boy called Martin, and Martin is the cleanest kid in town. He hates gross things. He's never farted in his life. He's head of the Tidy Town Committee. He lives in Sparkle Town, which is one of the tidiest town in the world, 17 years straight. But it has one thing he hates, and that's the baked beans factory. And his parents work at the baked beans factory, and when he goes to see them one day, there's an explosion, and that's when he gets his superpowers. But also his parents then disappear. So the first 5 books are about him trying to find his parents, and also there's a different villain each book, and the villains were also created in the explosion, which is pretty common superhero sort of thing. So yeah, he's got to face different villains. There's Madam Wax, who like turns people into earwax statues, and there's Spew Tank, who's pretty self-explanatory. So yeah, we had a ball. James and I would speak on the phone for hours, just coming up with different characters and villains and scenarios. So yeah, it was awesome fun. So basically, it's humor, it's adventure, and it's just kind of gross at the same time. But also has like these really nice family themes and stuff like that in it too. We like to get that sort of thing in as well.
That's awesome, man. Now, was this the series that turned you into a New York Times bestseller? Is this what put Wallace on the map, or were you not before you wrote Fart Boy?
Yeah, so no, it wasn't this. That's my best-selling one in Australia, best-selling series in Australia. But before that, I actually did a series with a company in America, a How to Catch series. So there's How to Catch a Unicorn, How to Catch a Leprechaun, How to Catch a Monster, How to Catch a Dinosaur. There's a whole series of them. And I did those first, and they they were the ones that went very well over there and got on the bestseller lists. And that then sort of brought me to the attention of publishers over here as well, a little bit more than I had been, because I hadn't worked with any bigger publishers. And so those books doing well in America brought me to the attention of a few different publishers around the world. Actually, it was quite amazing how it sort of publicized me. And yeah, they changed everything for me. And that was sort of the genesis of, I got one series with the publisher here, and then that then led to FARTBOY as well. So yeah, so FARTBOY is the biggest one over here, but wasn't the one that, I mean, it's probably the one that put me on the map a bit in Australia, but not in general.
So, as you probably know by now, something really interesting happened with this book. And somebody basically started a crypto project with it. And when did you become aware of this project?
So I got a few messages, I reckon first on socials like Instagram or Facebook, something like that. And I thought it was some sort of dodgy scam just thing going on. So I just kind of blocked the messages and ignored them, and then got a couple of emails. And so this is getting a bit serious. So I kind of I just sort of looked up or looked into it a little bit and realized it was an actual thing. So I'm not even sure. I mean, it's only been sort of going for a couple of weeks, or a few weeks. So yeah, probably a couple of weeks ago, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that I found out about it, just through people sending me messages saying, did you know there's a meme coin based on one of your books? And I was just like, this doesn't seem real, but it turns out it was.
And have you any experience with crypto or the Web3 world before?
Look, I've looked into it a little bit. I've got a close friend who that's basically what he does. He's very big on Bitcoin, and he's researched it within an inch of its life, and he's invested in that, and he's sort of given me a lot of advice on that. So I've got a little bit of crypto I bought a few years ago, just a small amount that I just put in there just to kind of be in the game, and that's about it. I've sort of glanced at it and not really gone deeply into it. Well, not like he has, and not like you have either, obviously.
That's incredible, because for those that don't know, that are listening to this interview, is what happened in the beginning with this project was, I would say, nefarious, right? Like, there was a narrative in the meme world, in the crypto world, of farts. There was a fart coin that was developed by AI, and
I didn't know it was AI.
Yeah, Fartcoin was developed by AI. It wasn't the first one. A lot of people wrongly accused Fartcoin of being number one. Turbo was technically the first one,
Right.
but maybe it was the first independent, because Turbo was created by AI, but with human intervention.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Basement Ron with Unicorn Fart Dust. I don't know if you've heard of that. And
A lot of those have come to my attention in the last couple of weeks.
I reckon. And so there was this narrative of this doing really well. And one of the dark side of crypto is these meme coins that are called rug pulls.
Yes.
And they're produced by scammers. They're typically there for any time from a few hours to a couple days. And the rug means the developer that developed them had a bunch of coins in different wallets and then took all the liquidity out and, off and ran. And I guess whoever the original dev for FARTBOY was saw the strong narrative of farts in the Web3 space and meme space, and must have had a copy of your book kind of a thing. And this isn't the first time, for lack of better words, someone's borrowed another artist's work to create a meme coin.
Yeah.
So then Coins Kid, whom I'm sure you've already talked to, was doing some research, and he found this project, and he did what's called a CTO, a community takeover. Because when you dig deep in the wallets, you can find is all the, is the dev fully gone and that. So when he found it, I believe the market cap was around $8,000. And he was like, I have a strong community. This is great. The art is great. We got to give James Hart some props too.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
It's amazing. And the real power of meme coins is the community behind them, right? There's no utility to a meme coin at the end of the day. And the CoinSkid community rallied behind it, which I think you've already experienced. You've sold a few books, I've heard, because of
yes.
I mean, I've bought them, as I mentioned earlier, and I'm looking forward to seeing them. And it's been, for lack of better words, it's been an absolute gas. But the lore of it, I think, is fascinating because rug pulled goes up to $50,000 in the pot. The dev basically yoinks that away from everybody.
Yeah.
And then goes all the way up to $4.5 million. And then all the people that got in at 8K and a few others that were just in it, they all cashed out, took it down to 900,000. And I don't know how aware you are, but this got up to a market cap of over $50 million.
Yeah, I saw that. And that was when I sort of started looking into it a bit more. And I know when I first saw it, it was at about 0.00001 US dollars or something. And now it's up to last I checked, it was around about 4 cents or something. So it's been amazing.
And now when the community heard, because you basically made a post on Twitter or X that you thought it was cool. And then obviously, long story short, we got in each other's inboxes. You got in the inbox, CoinSkid, and everybody's been talking. And for somebody that had their work, like I said, for lack of a better word, borrowed without your permission, to be like, I like this. This is a great idea. I think that's pretty phenomenal. And that's actually also uncommon in this space. Most people chip on their shoulder, if you will. And then
So I was just going to say, and look, I'm not sure. I mean, I didn't do the art. I wrote the stories, obviously, but I didn't do the art. So I was never quite sure how all that worked and how it was meant to go and everything. So, but in terms of, the thing is, I'm pretty open to most things. And I see something like that, and yes, it's based on the stories I wrote and that sort of thing as well, and even James's art, which is really what they've kind of borrowed there as well. And so I see that, but I'm just like, man, if it's bringing people joy and, and for us, it might lead to more book sales and more attention, but also, if some people are getting joy out of it, some people are making money out of it. To me, that's amazing.
Right. And then to add to the story, the community donates some tokens and some funds into a wallet for you. And going to my point earlier of your experience in crypto, unfortunately, somehow along the way, your seed phrase was given away and your wallet was drained. Is that true?
Look, it's I'm so glad you brought that up. I'm so happy. No, look, basically what happened was it was all coming through, and I went to, and some had sort of gone into my Solana, and some had gone into the FARTBOY coin. I was using it to then buy FARTBOY, which to get it back in there and hopefully build up the coin as well. And through my wallet, the transaction didn't work. And so, I was doing it through Dex Screener, which had worked fine before, and it didn't work. And so I tried to find a contact on Dex Screener, and there was nothing. So I kind of Googled it, and then it came with this contact. And so I went on there, and it was just this sort of support group or something it said. And so I said, put on there, I've done a transaction. It's not coming through. How long should it take? And someone called me, and look, basically, I knew there's one rule of crypto, right? Is you don't say your seed phrase. Anyway, so he's like, click on this link and go to here and click on your wallet. Not my wallet, but the wallet I've got. And so I did that. And so I enter your seed phrase, and I'm just like, this doesn't seem right. I'm not meant to. He's like, no, I'm just going to reset, blah, blah, blah. And I knew it was wrong, and I could feel myself getting flustered because I wasn't sure. And every bit of me, except the tips of these fingers, knew not to do it. And suddenly they just started typing, and Yeah, so it's totally my fault. It was just dumb, and I just watched it go down before my eyes, which was devastating. And so that was my fault. So I started up a new wallet and basically didn't worry about what I'd put in initially because I'd put in a bit myself. Didn't worry about that. But then the amount that people had donated to me, I then took my own money and invested that amount back in so that wasn't, at least it wasn't wasted by them. At least it got back into the coin eventually.
I believe that the community will rally behind you again. I mean, there's been discussions already from the community of charity work and donations being made.
Amazing.
And we're taking different polls on, what kind of charity work to look at, from buying more copies of your books to that and buying diapers and donating them to children's hospitals.
Amazing.
As part of the cause. So I'm sure we'll have more news of that when we go down this road some more.
Fantastic.
Some of the news that you've probably missed with the crypto world is, I call it, I was talking on a stream last night, the Trump effect right now with his tariffs. So the whole crypto world right now is absolutely tanking.
Yes.
And in comparison, FARTBOY has stood up quite well. It has drawn back a little bit. We're now sitting at about a $20 million market cap. But to think this went from 8K to 50 million to 4 million to 900,000 to 50 million down to 20 during some of the roughest times in crypto that we've seen in the last little bit, and some of the most liquidations we ever seen. I think it's hilarious that these fart coins are outperforming my solid portfolio of fundamental companies that have been around for ages. So
that's great.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been asking me, is he going to write a sequel? Is he considering any new stories for FARTBOY about all this? And I'm assuming a lot of the writing process has to deal a lot with also the publishing and what the publishers want. But now that you've seen that, is there any kind of trigger for you that makes you want to go back to the FARTBOY saga?
Look, FARTBOY is one that, as I said, me and James loved doing it, and the people at the publishers loved it, and we ended up doing 9 books actually in all. So there's 9 books in the series, and then losing track of years. I think last year was the last, and there was also some spin-offs. There was Fart Club, there was Farty Pets, and that all sort of came to an end last year. So unless something happens and the sales do pick up again, the publishers we've moved on to different things now. So at this stage, not writing any more of FARTBOY, but definitely, I mean, there's also opportunity for fan fiction, right? If people want to write their own FARTBOY stories, we can get that going as well. Or, I've noticed there's Fart Girl and Fart Baby and all this other stuff out there now as well on the coin. So if people want to write some fan fiction stuff on that, that'd be hilarious. But no, I've moved on to a few other things now. So I've got another series, or has just come out. What's the date? The 3rd. Came out 2 days ago. So another series came out, and then I'm working on a series that I'm actually self-publishing later this year. And that's one that I'm super excited about, not just because of the book, but even looking at it and going, I'm wrapped with this book, and I'm wrapped what I'm doing with this book, and love it. And it's different to anything I've ever done for a number of reasons. But then seeing all this happen with FARTBOY, I'm like, well, this is, especially if I'm self-publishing and I do own everything, then that's something for me. This crypto meme coin world is something for me to look into with that as well. So part of my brain's now looking at it not just as a book, but going, what else can it be? And so that's something I'll be investigating with the new book later on in this year as well.
Absolutely. Well, you got a community of people behind you that want to support you. And we love the absolute fact that you're excited about all of this. I've been excited about it. I think it's just been absolutely great. And if somebody wanted to get their hands on your books, where's the best place to get a copy of your books?
Well, if you're in Australia, there's still a few dotted around in some of the stores. I see them every now and again still in the stores, especially the big department stores. Overseas, probably the best is Amazon, I would imagine at this stage, or even to get them secondhand off somewhere, I guess maybe like an Abe Books or something like that. But yeah, online is probably the best because I know they were published in Australia. They were published in I think in the UK, at least the first book came out, and then they've come out in a couple other countries like Greece and Turkey and China, I think, and a couple other places like that. So there's a few, Netherlands as well. So there might be some out in stores, but generally online, I think is going to be the easiest way to get them at the moment. So with the series finishing, they're not going to be in as many stores.
Well, once again, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for the stories. This has been quite the story in and of itself. I couldn't imagine what it would be like to be in your shoes, to wake up, see it, hear it. A couple of the other interesting things that you may or may not know is pre-CTO is obviously somebody that bought the original project, the rug. There was a couple of those wallets because everything on the blockchain chain can be tracked to when and how much and stuff. And some of the dips were caused by pre-CTO wallets that woke up one day thinking they lost their money that they originally invested, and they woke up to $750,000 in their wallet. And can you blame them for selling it off? Like absolutely not. They probably had no clue what was going on, and they were like, "I just won the lottery." Kind of thing. Right. So, yeah, right now it is not on exchange. It is on DEX. The community is in talks with exchanges to get it listed. The community has also raised funds to cover that cost in and of itself, all done by the community. So we're all excited for that to happen. We don't know what exchange quite yet. The cool thing about a community meme coin is when you have thousands of people involved, you have thousands of skill sets. And there are people that have worked with exchanges, that have worked in crypto for years, that are rallying behind this and all working together to make this happen. So it'll be fascinating to see. And for those listening that would like to get into the community, the easiest way is to go to CoinsKid, CoinsKid on Twitter, and get into his Discord, because that's where the channel is to join the FARTBOY community. And
I haven't done that either. I'm not on Discord, so I haven't done that.
Yeah, I was wondering. I didn't think so, because I think you would probably berate it with 1,000 messages at once if you did jump in.
So maybe I shouldn't, because I've been checking that out on X, and that's where I've been mostly sort of chatting to people and responding, because there's only a certain amount of time you can do it each day. So I did think that with the Discord, but that's amazing. It's amazing seeing what the community does, and just how excited everyone is about it, and how they're just so genuinely happy to discuss these things and to talk about it, and just saying this has been a bit of a life-changing moment. I'm like, it's so interesting. So I'm like, we just wrote this book for kids, but it's just become something else. It's so lovely. And then with you talking about the charities and things like that, it's keep me posted on that as well, because I'm actually just signing up to work in a soup kitchen here. So, and I donate to a lot of kids' charities. So that sort of charity work is really important to me. So if you do start doing that, whether it's the diapers to the hospitals and things like that, or whatever it might be, keep me posted, and what I can do there to help, I'll do that as well.
Absolutely. I don't think this will be the last time we talk. I think we got a journey ahead of us. If the crypto world has taught me anything, it's that it's a crazy place for sure. Absolutely. Once again, thank you for your time. I actually understand you're heading out to a book signing, so I don't want to keep you too long after that. I'll talk to you right after we wrap up this interview here, but thanks again for your time, and really cool to meet you, man, and hella stories. We've had people that, want to do live readings with them on on the spaces and things like that. So it'll be really cool to see how this community grows now with you as well. So pretty excited. Thanks again. Do you have any closing words you'd like to end with?
No, I just want to thank you and thank everyone who's kind of jumped on board. It's been, it's always that sort of thing where I look at it and just can't stop giggling every time I sort of check things and look at it. So it's brought a lot of joy into my life as well. It's been really cool, and yeah, absolutely. Some of the readings, I might even do a couple myself, a couple little readings too. So do that, and then actually, I don't know how much I'm allowed to. There's all contracts of how much I'm allowed to read online and stuff like that, so I'll have to check that. But yeah, that sounds amazing, and yeah, look, just thank you to everybody who's kind of jumped on board and grabbed this and run with it. It's so cool.
Oh, there's been little shorts made already with the characters with AI. There's been songs that are in hip hop style, dance style, ska style. There's been a lot of fun around it for sure. So once again, thank you for your time. And I know this isn't going to be the last time we speak, but I'm already looking forward to the next one.
Likewise. Thanks heaps.